Boom.
Oh, there it is. Awesome.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I am here with Kevin Towell. I am so excited. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so excited that I get to talk to you today. I guess Jim Holm was originally going to do it.
He was, but he couldn't figure out the technology. So I love that I'm getting interviewed by you. I haven't seen you in so long.
I know. It's just so good to see your voice and see your voice.
See your voice. I love it.
Face.
Hear my face and see my voice.
Yes, exactly. That's how long I've been inside. So, well, let's just start. So tell me, Kevin Towell, how did you get started in the theater?
Sure. It's funny. I started acting in theater when I was 14 in high school. My freshman year was my first year. And other Colonial alumni, Sandy and Ginny, I've known since I was like 5 or 6 years old, and they actually,
Really?
yeah, one of my next door neighbors was their cousin, like their first cousin. So they actually convinced me to do a show at Haverford, and then I just fell in love with it, and I just kept doing shows. And then when I was in college, I stopped for a little bit. When I got out of college, I jumped back into community theater, and then I started doing more short film, and then I landed a commercial agent, and then I started doing commercials.
I heard about that. I want to ask you more about that later because that's exciting and that's new territory for me. But hold that thought. So you found Colonial through Ginny?
Yep, through Sandy and Ginny. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
They did a bunch of shows there, and I came and saw it. I came and saw a bunch of those shows, and I loved it. And I thought the theater was so cool. And they were going out for The Odd Couple. They were going out for The Odd Couple, and they were like, and I had just graduated college at that point, and I hadn't done a show in a couple years, and I kept telling them how much I missed it, and they were like, just come out for The Odd Couple, and that was my first show at Colonial, and it was a blast.
Yeah, you were so much fun to watch in that. I didn't know you, of course, and I was just. You were just so much fun to watch on stage, so I'm really glad that you came. I had no idea you knew them your whole life. I knew you were good friends, but I just thought, well, that happened. But that's really cool. Do you have any theater-wise? I know you're branching off into commercials and film and everything, but theater-wise, do you have any bucket list roles or shows or anything that you want to do?
I just love a good farce. I really do. I love anything Neil Simon. Neil Simon is my favorite. Like we did Rumors.
Yeah.
I did Rumors a couple times. That was my second time doing Rumors, and every time it gets me every time. I think it's hilarious. For a while, there's a show called Dog Sees God, and that was a bucket lister of mine, and I got to do that at the Players Club of Swarthmore with Sandy and a couple other people, and I don't know. I would have to think on that. There's a lot of shows that I watch. Anything that is fast-paced comedy, I would love to do.
Okay.
Really.
Okay. So when you did Rumors before, you were Lenny, right? So were you Lenny both times?
I was.
What a shock.
I was Lenny both times. I was a junior in high school, and I played Lenny. And I remember getting the script and being so panicked about it because there was like a 3 or 4 page monologue, and I was so scared. And when I did it at Colonial, I even told JP Timlin, he was the director. I was like, I was younger then. I was able to memorize things. I don't know if I'll be able to do that now, but he was a laid back guy, and it all worked out. It was so much fun. That was
you were fantastic. Show. People are still talking about, the amazing Kevin Towell doing Rumors. So
thank you so much. That was
I think it turned out. All right, now I have to look up Dog Sees God because I missed that over there.
It was Dog Sees God.
Dog Sees God.
Yeah, it was like an experimental show. The Peanuts gang, like Charlie Brown and them, actually grow up.
Wasn't that depressing? I thought that was depressing.
Very depressing. And but it shows the Peanuts gang going through, the new changes and teen angst, and and it was there's a lot of really beautiful themes in it. There was also comedy in it, but it was really a dark show. And
okay.
The themes mean a lot. So I definitely wanted to do that once in my life, and I got the chance to do it. So
And,
that was
who
really
were you
exciting.
in that?
I was the bully. I was a character named Matt, and he was a homophobic, like, bad guy. But deep down, it turned out that he had his own repressed, uh, homosexual feelings, and it just goes to show that, bullies bully people for, you're not born evil. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah,
a reason
yeah.
people are bullying each other, but it also goes to show that while that might be the case, it doesn't matter. Like, bullying and name calling, and it really does something to the soul, and it really does something to people, and sometimes it can destroy a person. So it was a really beautiful show, and the cast was absolutely beautiful, and I loved working with them. So
Was
it
that
was a
was
lot of
that
fun.
cathartic to do, or
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because we all sat down and we all talked about different things that we related to in the show, and we all, theater geeks in general are kind of angsty, and also, like, not necessarily part of the popular crowd and
Right.
stuff like that. So we all kind of felt that way a little bit through high school, and I think it was a good release, and it was a good group to have that release with.
Okay. Oh, that's great. That leads me to another question. So what were you like in high school?
Actually, I was. I didn't know exactly who I was at the time, but I was still outgoing. I was still extremely extroverted. I had friends in a bunch of different groups, so I hung out with a bunch of different groups. But I never really had, until the end of high school, I never really had, like, my own group. So I
Okay.
went to, I hung out with a bunch of different people. I had a radio show at
Oh, really?
Haverford. Yeah, at Haverford, I had a radio show. I did theater all the bunch of years, and it was like, I had a great time. And then at the end of high school, like junior and senior year, is when I really started forming those close bond relationships, and really came in. They helped me find out who I was, and who I always should have been. And high school was a cool time. It was.
Okay.
College was more fun, obviously, for me, but high school was an experimental, you know, journey that I think everybody goes through in their own way. And um, I didn't have a bad time. I didn't have a bad
That
time.
sounds like a very healthy way to get through high school. Like you navigated it well. So good for you. Do you sing? Do you ever do musicals? Any interest in
Now,
musicals?
I've done musicals, but I don't. The big joke is I don't like singing at all. But I'll do
Um,
it. You know what I mean? I'll do it. If it's like a cartoon type of singing, you know what I mean? If that makes sense, like it's a
yes.
character, a
Nobody's going to be
character.
judging your vocal quality.
Right, right. Like, I'm not the one belting out, you know, music. I'm never ever going to be that person. But I had fun doing a bunch of different musicals, because especially when you're in the ensemble kind of has more fun than the main cast does in a lot of shows, because a lot of times there's 15 to 20 of you, and you're all thrown together to do this ridiculous dance, and you form a better relationship with those people because nobody knows, what they're doing, and we're all on different, skill levels and stuff like that. But I've had a lot of fun doing musicals. I did, Curtains and How to Succeed in Business, and
Okay.
a bunch of different shows, and I had a lot of fun
Okay.
doing
I
them.
could
But
see you totally scene stealing in the ensemble, like what's that guy in the back? What's he
what is
doing?
that guy doing?
He's funny back there.
I did get in trouble a lot of times for going above and beyond when I shouldn't have.
Okay, so let's see. Do you have a favorite movie?
Oh God. Oh God. A favorite movie. I guess it depends on what kind of mood I'm in, to be completely honest. I have a lot of movies that I've seen hundreds of times, and they'll never get old to me. And if they're on TV, I'll watch them. I don't know if I would necessarily say I have a favorite movie, because
Okay.
a lot of different movies mean different things to me. Uh,
Oh,
but no, I don't have a favorite movie. That would be too
okay,
hard for
so
me.
just depends on your mood and
Yeah,
in the moment.
absolutely.
Okay. Do you do Star Wars or Star Trek or Marvel or
Star Wars, definitely Star Wars. I love Star Trek though, but I was more of a Star Wars person. Marvel versus DC. Um, I like the villains in DC better. I'm a big
really?
villain.
Okay.
I'm a big villain guy. I love well, I love the Batman villains if I'm going to be, real. But the Marvel movie franchise in general nailed it. But DC also had like the Dark Knight and a bunch of incredible
Right.
things. When it comes to growing up, I read more Marvel comic books like Spider-Man, the X-Men and stuff like that. So
Okay.
I don't know.
So you
I
know
would say
your
Marvel.
comics.
Yeah, I do know my comics.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I'm going to do a couple more favorites. You have a favorite book
A favorite book.
or genre, maybe?
I love a good like mystery. I love a good murder mystery, or who done it, or anything along those lines. So growing up, I loved, and then there were none. When I was a kid, I watched or I read, and then there were none like every year, and I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it so much. There's a lot of books that meant a lot to me when I was a kid that I didn't go back to. I'm not a big book reader now. I kind of wish I was more, but uh, I'm not. If anything, I read. Uh, I don't even know. No,
You,
I'm not a big book guy right now, but I should
you
be.
watch more
So
movies than books?
yeah, definitely more of a music, movie, TV show kind of guy.
Right. I've gotten that. That's come up a couple of times in my little. I talked to Joe Cartagena, and he's said, "Well, you watch movies, and you're kind of doing research as a theater person, right?"
Right, right. Absolutely, absolutely.
So, favorite type of music
Oh my gosh.
or just everything?
I love all music. Really, music is my favorite thing in the entire world. I love listening to all different types of music for all different types of moods. The music I listen to in the morning is not the same as the music I listen to at night and stuff like that. So music for all moods. Really, I love all
Okay,
music.
you're eclectic.
Yes, 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 I am.
um, um, let's see. Well, one more favorite, maybe two. What's your favorite birthday dinner / comfort food?
Okay, comfort food is carbs, anything carbs. So um, I'm a big Chinese food guy. I love Chinese food.
Okay.
And when it comes to carbs, anything pasta, penne alla vodka,
Uh,
stuffed shells, and anything, bring all the carbs on, all of them. That is my go-to.
I understand that. So dim sum would be like a good
Oh, love dim sum.
lunch
Absolutely.
out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's good. So, money's no object, and you get 3 months to go on a vacation. Where would you go?
If it was right, after all this,
Yeah,
after
not
all,
now, but
yeah, right. But I mean, like, as soon as this was over and I had 3 months of anything I wanted to do, I think I would want to jump from, if I had 3 months and I had all that money, I think I would want to jump from place to place and try to experience a bunch of different cultures and um, just change the scenery as much as as much as I could in those 3 months.
okay.
At one point, my friend Billy and I, he was living in LA at the time, and I was just graduating college, and he was finishing his internship in LA, and I flew to LA, and the two of us drove back to Philly from there, and it was just fun to like go from like one day we were in Las Vegas, and the next day we were in the Grand Canyon, and it was just
Oh,
such a complete change of pace every time. If I had to pick one, probably somewhere tropical, like a beach or something wildly relaxing of some
okay.
sort.
So what's your favorite season? Is it summer?
Fall. I'm a big
Fall.
fall guy. Yeah, fall. I love everything that comes along with fall. I love Halloween. I love bonfires. I love the weather that's in between summer and winter, but it doesn't stick around that. It doesn't stick around uh, that long. It happens really quick, but I just love the aesthetic of fall, and I love the colors. And spring is also obviously gorgeous, but summer sometimes is too much for me. Like there's some days that I'm like dying from the humidity and stuff like that. I love being able to go out and go kayaking and hiking and stuff because it's nice out. But fall and spring are more my favorites than the others.
Okay. Sounds good. You can go on your tropical vacation, and when you don't have to do anything but sit by the beach, then it can be hot, right?
This is true. This is true.
Okay, that's good to know. Oh, here's an interesting. What's on your acting resume? What's on your special skills?
Oh my gosh, the special skills. I remember I sat down with Sandy in the very beginning, and I was like, before I even knew how to write an acting resume, I was like, what even is this? Like, what do I write down? And I did take a combat like stage combat class. So there's stage combat on my resume, which I think is hilarious because if anybody ever were to be like, oh, show me some of your stage combat, I'd be like, I have no idea what, but I took the class so I could write it down. And I forget for what show. I think it was like an AST show, AST in high school was something called Advanced Studio Theater, and I took one of those classes, and I had to I had to use a puppet. So I also have puppetry on my acting resume.
Oh, that could come in.
So besides that, I don't think anything else too ridiculous. I tried to figure out how to juggle just so I could write juggling on my resume, but I'm not good at it. But you know,
I did the same thing. I tried to learn how to juggle, and it never worked.
But never give up hope. You never know.
I have a vision suddenly of you doing a one-man show with puppets, and it would be hysterical.
We might be on to something here.
Okay, let's work on that. So tell me what you've been doing lately. You've been expanding your horizons a bit, right?
Right. So yeah. So about 2 years ago, when I was jumping back into community theater and stuff like that, I started seeing a bunch of my friends who were going into the film industry, who studied film either at Temple or a bunch of schools around here, and I started doing like short films with a bunch of people and little things like that. And through that, you meet connections, and different people are like, "Oh, did you ever think about doing this, or did you ever think about doing that?" And I started doing a lot of background, like extra work for, you know, a couple casting agencies in Philly, and I did the Silver Linings Playbook. I did Creed and a bunch of different movies that I was just, you know, one of, you know, maybe 10 people or one of 20 people in the background of a movie. And I was like, oh my gosh, seeing how all the moving parts was so exciting to me. So I started working on headshots and getting my material together that I had already worked on, like maybe somebody filmed the show that I was in, or, you know, different ridiculous antics that I was a part of. And I put them together in a resume and started pitching them out to different people. And for a while, nobody was biting. And I was like, oh, well, you know, it was a nice idea. And then one person found one of my profiles. And I think this was about 2 summers ago. And I did my first commercial in Westchester. And it was for like an ITT tech company. And I remember just being like, oh my gosh, like this is so wild. Like, what am I doing? And from there, once I landed one, they kind of started, since I had the footage of doing one, I would use that to submit to another one. And they were like, oh, you know, he does have some credentials behind him. So I started doing like little local commercials. And then I would use those to pitch to agents in the area. And I landed an acting agent through it. What'd you say?
I said, woohoo, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I was talking at the same time. So I landed an acting agent last year, sometime last year. I should know when, but sometime last year. And then I started landing bigger commercials. So I did T-Mobile, and I did a commercial for Walmart, and I did like a lot, you know, an American Pest Control commercial. And I started getting lines in these commercials, and some of them were national, and it was crazy. And I still don't know, you know, how I fell into it, but it's awesome. It's so exciting, and it's just such a exciting game to go to auditions and meet other people in the audition room that are people who we're all on the same page. We're all in the same boat. We all have the same drive and dream. And especially in Philly, what's really cool about Philly, and I don't know, you know, I'm not saying the other states aren't, but what's really cool about Philly is people are really supportive of one another. And I think that's really awesome, especially, you know, I was nervous for my first couple auditions because, you know, I read everywhere, like, don't even talk to people because they'll take, you know, or don't even try to practice around people because they'll see what you're doing and they'll steal your stuff. You know what I mean? It's very cutthroat. It's very backstabbing. But that's not the case in Philadelphia, is what I found. I find people who I met on an audition once and we still keep in touch, and they're like, hey, did you hear that this casting call is happening and stuff like that. So pool in Philadelphia is really awesome when it comes to when you start going out for auditions and stuff like that. People are very supportive, and it's awesome.
That's
It's very
great.
exciting.
I've seen you posted on Facebook a couple of the things. It's great that you get to be funny
Yeah,
in some of them.
yes. What's really exciting is I do get to be, I still get to be the comedic, wacky guy in a lot of them. There's a bunch of commercials that I'm just laughing. Excuse me, I'm just laughing or smiling. So shout out to my parents for paying the dental bills when I was younger, because my smile is really the only reason I got the first gigs in the beginning. Like there's a lot of gigs that it'll just be music playing and somebody like a narrator talking, and it's just me and my friends in the thing laughing, and I'm just like, let's do this. At this point, I don't care what the commercial is for. It's just so exciting. It's just so exciting to do them. I love it. It's so much
Has
fun.
Smooth Jazz been involved in it?
Yeah. Right. Right.
No, that's good. Well, you emanate. You have such a positive aura, energy about you that I can see them wanting
Thank
to,
you so much. Thank you for
cash in
saying
on
that.
So that's awesome. That you're going to be in movies next. I
hope. Thank you for saying that. Like that one day, one day.
Yeah. So in the meantime, so we're all stuck social distancing.
It's terrible.
It really is. How so? Are you picking up? This is a dumb thing. How are you coping? I mean, how are you coping? And
Right.
then
Absolutely.
are you like doing anything different to like help you get through this?
Right. Absolutely. So coping and routine right now. So in the very beginning, it was very easy for me to fall off the whole. So before this started happening, I was in a really great routine of working out at 5 a.m. every day. I was
Oh
doing the
my
5 a.m.
gosh.
I know I never in a million years would have ever been that person, but I started waking up at 4:30 and going to the 5 a.m. class. And my routine was just perfect. I would eat small meals every like 3 hours, and I was really getting my nutrition and working out under like beyond control. You know what I mean? It was so cool. And
Wow.
as soon as this went down, all of that went right out the window, because all my, all the gyms closed, and, there was no more structure. There was no more routine. So the first week I really struggled with working out in general, because I was like, I don't really have, I have a couple free weights and stuff like that, but I don't know what I'm doing unless I have somebody yelling at me. I don't know what, I don't know what I'm doing. So the first week was awful. I wasn't sleeping that well out of anxiety and, fear of the unknown. And I was, eating horribly and sitting on my behind watching a bunch of shows, and which is not a bad thing. But,
Right.
I was doing that all day, every day. And I was like, what am I doing? So then I sat down one day and I started writing down a routine that I could do here. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the same, obviously, as what I was doing every day, but so I would wake up and do my workout in the morning. Whatever it may be, I would write down an idea. So I wasn't just sitting there like, I wonder what I should do next. I would write something down. So, and then I would start mapping out my meals. And a big thing I like to do is I like to prep my meals on Sunday so I could eat so it's smart. So I'm smart about what I eat. So I'm not just throwing, Twinkies in my mouth and stuff like that. So the routine is really what started figuring out for me. And luckily it's nice out. So I would start working out in the morning, and I would, I would have time to go on a walk later on in the day and stuff like that. Meditation was huge. I love listening to music and just meditating. And I do that every day, at least once or twice a day. I'll just listen to music and focus more on breathing than anything else in the entire world, because, the meditation has been so incredible. I've been trying to create content and pictures and videos to make other people laugh and make other people smile. I have all these ridiculous costumes. I might as well use them. You know what I mean? So I've been posting pictures and videos of just ridiculous antics and stuff like that I could do from my own backyard. And I've been FaceTiming and Zooming with a lot of people. I've been doing like Zoom happy hours with a bunch of people, and I was like, I don't even know at first I was like, this is the stupidest thing ever, and then I did one, and I was like, actually, it was really good to see people. So just seeing people, even though we're not face to face, just seeing people and just talking to people really changed the game. So knowing that you're not alone in the situation, and talking to different people from different and hearing different perspectives about the situation, it's not just me going through this,
Yeah.
and I have it much better than a lot of other people in a lot of situations. Maybe not in all situations, but in a lot of situations. So it's still up and down when it comes to, I take it a day at a time. It's still up and down, but the routine is what really honed it in for me.
Okay. That seems really smart.
Yeah.
That's a smart plan. Just curious, you don't have to go into great detail because I'm not going to. Well, your workout routine then, is that at like inside with dumbbells?
Right,
or?
right, yeah. So I have my roommates and I have a couple different weighted dumbbells. So we have, I think, a 12-pound. We have maybe 3 or 4 different types of dumbbells.
Okay.
And I also bought a sit-up ab mat and an ab roller. And so it'll usually be like body weight kind of deals. So I started incorporating, push-up challenges or sit-up challenges or plank challenges or anything that I can do with free weights that I won't pull my back out or my shoulder out because I don't know how to do them correctly. So a workout that I did this morning was I did, goblet squats. So I would hold a dumbbell in my hands and do a bunch of squats.
Oh.
And then right after that, I would go on the floor and use my ab mat, and I would use the same weight, and I would hold the weight and go up and down, just so I was adding more weight than just doing a regular sit-up and stuff like that. Challenge different body parts on different days, and I'll see what works and what doesn't work. And so I'm just trying to keep it going because I was on a really good routine.
You're going to be in such better shape than the rest of us when this is over.
I will say the nutrition still needs to get to 100%. I'm still comfort eating and stuff like that at one point.
But you know what? That's okay too, right?
Absolutely.
100%. We're going through some shit right now.
We are going through some shit right now. This is insane. This is so crazy.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to make baked goods and eat 3 more than you should have, Right.
And binge watch that extra episode of whatever.
Absolutely.
Yes. Here's a strange question. What are you known for?
What am I known for? I think I'm really known for my positive behavior, or my positive attitude on a lot of things. A lot of people have always told me that they love my laugh and my smile and the way I make them feel, like with my energy and stuff like that. I usually don't let things. Even if I'm not doing well internally, I always make it a point to try to make other people smile and other people laugh and stuff like that. So I'm, I guess you could say I'm known for caring about other people and trying to make people smile and laugh, which is not a bad thing to be known for.
No, not at all. You do seem to have some wisdom in you're like that in Shakespeare terms, like the clown who is wise,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's such a compliment. I love that. Absolutely. I love that.
So I guess to wrap up, I'll ask a question that leads from that. With all the crap that's happening and there's so much to worry about and, not, for real, but is there anything good that you think can come from this? And if you think that's a stupid question, you can say that too.
No. I think ironically, there's a lot of good that's coming out of this. I think, as horrible as it is, especially for a lot of people, for the whole world at the same time to slow down and, really stop dead in their tracks. At the same time, the whole world is pretty much stopping and looking around at their own lives and the people around them. And you're seeing how much can be taken from you at once in the blink of an eye. Everything. At one moment, everything's shut down in this entire world, and at least in our world, you know what I mean? Everything's shut down, and we're all trying to come to terms with that. And one of the ways to come to terms with that is a great way of realizing all the things you kind of took for granted in your life.
Yeah.
As simple as running into a friend of yours at Wawa or something like that and hugging them and just being like, oh my gosh, what if, you know, it's so good to see you. A simple handshake, a simple hug, a simple laugh shared with people. Everybody was living such fast-paced lives, and you never get to take a minute to step back and really appreciate all that is around you, you know, all the beautiful things that's around you. You know, you're seeing all these videos of people singing on their balconies or clapping for their healthcare workers. I know I was one of the people too. For a lot of my life, you never really think that, you know, when you think of heroes, you think of comic book heroes and stuff like that. But the people who are really going above and beyond right now are those healthcare workers, are those, you know, delivery drivers, those truck drivers, those restaurants, like retail workers, grocery store clerks. The everyday hero almost is the front page hero right now. And I think they were due some respect and appreciation. So those are some really cool things to look at, is all those people who a lot of people just brushed off as, you know, just somebody in the way, which is really a sad reality for a lot of people, is they were just, you know, you're a worker, like, you know, doing your job, you're below me. For some reason, that a lot of people in the world think that way. It's a cool way for them to get their, it's a cool way for us to finally, as a world, open our eyes to be like, oh my gosh, there's so much good that people are doing, and there's so much hard work that people do that often gets brushed under the carpet and stuff like that. A lot of people are finally getting confident enough to show off their singing skills online or do a dance that they never would have done before. A lot of families in America who were missing meals with each other are now sitting down to have dinner with one another as a family, as a whole family, for the first time in years. And they've been doing it for, you know, almost a month now. Every night they're having meals together, which is insane, you know, especially in such a fast-paced world. You might get one parent, you might get both parents, you might get one kid. Now you have everybody having the same meals. Unfortunately, there are people in the healthcare industry, you know, healthcare force that don't get to see their kids right now. And we have to honor that. We have to honor those people, and we have to honor the sacrifice that a lot of people are giving. There is a lot of beauty in this world. I think it also goes to show, my final thing on it, in all aspects of life, the good is always bigger than the bad. In all aspects, in all versions of darkness, the light is always bigger. And I think it's cool that a lot more people are opening up to see that. Yes, the headlines are scary as hell and atrocious and almost make you want to crawl in a corner and be in a field position. But there's so much beauty in the world that's happening, even in such horror, that it can give you enough hope that you can get through anything, especially not alone. Because if this showed you anything, this whole world is going through the same thing right now. So nobody's alone. We're all going through the same thing on different levels, on different platforms. So there's a lot of beauty in the world happening right now.
Oh, Kevin, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh, the party we're going to have when this is over, right?
I agree. And that's another thing I'm looking forward to. I've already planned like 17 different happy hours, and, you know, I'm there's so much to look forward to. There's so much coming. We just got to hold on for a little bit longer.
Yeah. Oh, well, that gives me hope that we can do it.
We can do it. We can do this.
Okay. Well, Kevin, thank you so much. I'm going to stop this thing right now.
All right.
But thanks again.
Of course. It was so good seeing you. Thank you for doing this.
You too.